Hello and welcome to the third part of our tutorial series on Gestrument Pro. In case you missed it, here's a link to the first part where we cover the basics of the app. In Gestrument Pro, each instrument is built up of 3 different generators. One for rhythm, one for pitch, and one for sound. In this video, we're going to learn about the pitch generators, which are used to define the scales and harmonies your instruments can play. The pitch generator maps notes from your currently selected scale across the play area's y-axis. So by sliding your finger along the screen, you travel through the scale. Currently we have 2 different pitch generators, the scale map and the chord map. We'll start by looking at the scale map, as it's the default setting for new instruments in Gestrument Pro. The scale map has 2 modes to choose from. Global, which makes your instrument adhere to the global scale, and local, which lets you pick a unique scale for each individual instrument in your patch. To edit the global scale, open the scale editor in the top right corner. Tap the scale name to open the scale menu. Here you can select one of our pre-configured scales. By tapping the arrows, you can transpose the scale to a key of your choosing. But if you don't want to use any of those, you can build your own scales here as well. To do this, tap the keys to add or remove notes from your scale. With the scale editor, it's also possible to explore options beyond the Western scales and harmonies. To add microtonal notes, tap between the keys. For precision control over these pitches, tap and hold a note, then enter the note's distance from the root in cents or as an intervallic ratio and click OK. To save your scale, tap the burger menu and select Save. Then enter a name for your scale and click Save. Once you're done, your scale will appear under the User section of Scale Presets. If you're making a multi-instrument patch, you might not want all instruments to play the same range of notes. With the maximum and minimum pitch, you can limit instruments to certain ranges in the scale. This is great if you want one instrument to only play lower notes and another to play higher. The main benefit of using the global mode is that new instruments default to the same scale, making patch building both quicker and simpler. Additionally, the global scale mode also gives you access to the scale switcher matrix, which can be used to switch scales on the fly. To add a mode to the matrix, tap and hold an empty slot. Then select the scale and key you want to play in, and you're ready to go. Now you can switch scales in real time and even record the changes using the loop function. On purpose, I've chosen 2 scales that are dissonant, so if it sounds weird, don't worry, that's what it's supposed to be like. Next I want to show you our transpose parameters, as well as what sets the 2 apart. To demonstrate, I'll record a short loop. And of course I forgot to mute instrument B. The first one I want to show you is called Transpose in Scale. This parameter shifts your sequence along the chosen scale, meaning that the melody morphs along the scale rather than retaining the original note intervals. To do that, you need to use Transpose Absolute. By turning off Quantize, Transpose Absolute will act more like a pitch bend, allowing you to transpose by cents rather than full steps. Before moving on, I also wanted to mention that it's possible to use a MIDI file containing a melody as a scale in Gestrument Pro. To demonstrate this, we've included the Fir-Elise scale among the scale presets. Now, instead of moving from the lowest to the highest point of the scale, you move through the melody, from the first note to the last. To import scales or MIDI files from other sources, drop them into the Gestrument Pro folder in the Files app, iTunes, or even drop them over. Next we're going to look at the chord generators. But first, we're going to initialize our patch. Unlike the scale map, the chord generator is polyphonic, and completely independent of the global scale and scale switcher matrix. So when you slide your finger across the screen, you'll play the chords from the map from the first to the last. Just like we saw in the rhythm generator video, the breakpoint function can be used to lend more space on the play area to certain chords in your map. To edit your chord map, press the chord box. Here you'll see all the chords in the map from first to last. Press edit to remove chords or rearrange the map. To add a new chord, press the plus button. This will take you to the chord list, where you can choose from a variety of pre-configured chords. To add your own chords, scroll down to the bottom of the list and press the plus sign. For example, write 1-3-5 for a major chord. Or write 1-3B-5 for a minor chord. It's also possible to create more personalized voicings for your chords. For example, write 3-12-17 to get the major third as a bass, with the root and fifth an octave up. Then you're going to choose to not be stupid like me and write a name for your chord in the box marked description. The way Gestrument Pro is built allows for a lot of experimentation and flexibility in terms of how you can achieve your desired results. Let me show you an example of this by building a dynamic chord player from scratch. First of all, let's initialize our patch. Now, we're going to tie several instruments to the same cursor. Then, using the pitch map, we're going to play chords. Tap and hold instrument A to open the instrument settings. Here we want to make sure that the global scale mode is active. This instrument is going to play the root notes at a low octave. So we'll set the range from C2 to C4. Next, we're going to head over to instrument B. This one is going to be playing the thirds at an octave higher than instrument A. This time we'll set the range from C3 to C5. Now we're playing at an octave higher, but to get it to play thirds, we're going to set Transpose absolute to +2. Let's have a listen and see what we got so far. Next, open the burger menu to copy the settings from instrument B. Then go over to instrument C and paste the settings. Since we want this instrument to play the fifths, we'll adjust Transpose in scale to +4. For instrument D, we'll go an octave higher and adjust Transpose in scale to play the sevenths. Now we have access to all the chords in the scale. To make things a little bit more interesting, we'll make some adjustments in the rhythm generators. For instruments A, B, and C, we're going to deactivate all durations except for quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. And with instrument D, we're only going to play eighth note triplets. Let's have a listen. Now instrument 4 is playing transitions between the chords. From here you can go ahead and add velocity modulation, rhythmic randomness, more voices, scales to the scale switcher matrix, or anything you like to make it your own. If you want to see what that looks like, follow the link in the description. There I've prepared a MIDI file and a preset that you can download for free and use in Gestrument Pro. As you might suspect, there's a lot more hidden beneath the surface here, but hopefully this tutorial has given you enough to start experimenting with the pitch generators on your own. Let us know in the comments below if you have any more questions about the pitch generators or things you'd like us to bring up in future videos. Next time, we're going to be looking at MIDI stuff. So if you don't want to miss that, click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.